Mr. Lunney, can you breathe yet? Are we to the breathing point of the season?
No, we're not allowed to breathe. And as much stress and as tired, I slept 11 hours last night.
Wow.
Probably
good sleep.
Good sleep, never even moved, woke up sore. But as much as I feel what's going on, boy, I remember those days of being a band director and contest creeps up on you like a train going 5 miles an hour and you're tied to the train tracks.
No escape.
There's no escape, buddy. So they're coming for you.
This is kind of cool.
Yeah.
We are
check out these digs.
Hanging out today.
Yeah.
In Abilene, Texas.
That's right.
This is Shotwell Stadium. Mike and I are both part of the region marching contest today, and we just thought it'd be fun to sit. I don't know that I have physically seen you.
Yeah.
We talk every week, 2 or 3 times a week.
We have a long distance relationship, Derrick.
But I'm excited to be, if people haven't seen Shotwell lately.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Now, I used to drive by all the time. You know, I go up and down I-20 constantly. Yeah. This press box is nice. It's cool.
It's state of the art.
So congrats to Abilene ISD and great things going on. But again, kind of a timely thought. There's been several region contests already.
Yes.
So
in fact, we're one of the last ones
today
in the state. One of the last ones.
But one of the things that goes along with that, and listen, I'm glad we're both here because so many times I approach these contests and these festivals from the standpoint of I get to go see these people and you know, we've had the conversation about the roadman might be the bartender of music,
listen to all
education.
But not selling liquor, just listening. Let's clarify that. And does not sell alcohol.
No, we do not. But at the same time, you know I'm such an advocate for music education and for the kids and for this whole thing. And I just want everybody to have the best experience they can. But this is the event where you are assigned I just got to say a rating. I mean, that's
right.
What we call it, right?
Yes.
And so, what do we do with that? Do we get super excited and just, you know, I'd love to watch it. And as the announcer, there've been times that if I have friends that are competing that day and they did well, it's one of my favorite things to do to say, blah, 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 division.
Pause for drama.
I didn't say one. And everybody screams and everybody jumps up and down.
Yeah.
And then there's some of my great friends that did everything they could do, and it just wasn't Division I that day.
Right.
So it strikes me, and I'm asking you, what do we do with the rating at a contest? I mean, it's necessary. It's part of what we do. It's what we signed up for. But in 30 plus years, what do you do with it?
Well, we've got to treat this very carefully. I think the first stage of this situation is how do we treat all those months before the contest?
Right.
Is our goal simply the contest? Is our goal to be better each day? Is the competition just a healthy part of our procedure? Right. Because if you're in it just for those oddly shaped trapezoid trophies, then you're going to be sorely disappointed.
For those of you not in the state of Texas, our UIL trophies are...
They're trapezoids.
Triangles with the top whacked off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we've had that conversation before, that the journey really should be, I'll let you qualify this. To me, the journey is as important, if not more important, than today.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is if they put all their eggs in one basket, that contest is everything and competition is everything. If that's really our mindset, then if we do not make a first division or we're not first place at area, then our entire process is wrong. Think about that. It's like pulling a slot machine handle. It's either a jackpot or it's nothing. But if we go in and look at it as this is what we're doing as a band, and this is just something we use to make ourselves better, and if we make a first division, that's awesome. If we don't, we're going to learn from it. I sit here as a band director who I've had a band third in state as a bronze medalist, and I've had a third division at region. Wow. So, I can honestly say I'm not casting stones at anybody. I've experienced a pretty wide range of emotions with it, but over the years, I figured out ways to kind of handle this situation.
And, you know, I'll share with you my high school experience, or I grew up in a town that was pretty stout in the 70s and 80s for music education. I mean, it was pretty well respected. Ninth grade school is a separate school. The high school was honor band. They won honor band my ninth grade year, or the year before. I think it was my eighth grade. But when I was at the ninth grade, we had a fantastic new director, young guy. When we got to contest that day, just some things didn't work. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
And we wound up with a division, with a 3.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, coming from the town where excellence is, everybody was excellent.
Yeah.
We rode the bus back to our band hall just thinking we were abject failures. We're going to get kicked. They won't let us in the high school band now. That honor band doesn't want any Division III people. And so, but my point being, and I hope that I'm going to get out of the way now, there are ways, and there's a positive end to that story. There are ways that we can talk about ratings with our groups, yes, to create a positive or a more positive outcome going forward.
Or at least a learning experience.
Okay.
Even if it's not the most positive of comments, at least we can learn from it. In my life, band aside, the most defining moments of my life have been from a very blunt critique.
Right.
You know, so we have to kind of learn from that. I think number one is, as directors, always listen to the comments. You might be surprised how many, if they don't make the rating they shot for, they just won't listen to the comments. They just trash it. Sure. So go ahead and listen to the comments, even if you don't agree with the rating.
Would you say, though, make sure you actually don't, that you hear what the comments are saying as opposed to just, you know what I mean? If you're biased going into it.
Yeah, I think because in the heat of the moment when your band performs, sometimes we think they're better than what they actually performed. And I'll tell you a true story. I made a second division with a band as a young teacher. I went over to my high school band director's house, and I played the video for him. And I said, "Can you believe this was a second division?" And I played the whole thing, and he goes, "Well, yeah. Yeah, Mike, I'm sorry, but that was a second division." Actually. And he went down the list of things, and without listening to the critiques, he mentioned everything the judges had said. And he said, "And here's how we're going to fix them." So that's entirely what happens. It really is. We think the band is stronger because we're emotionally vested in it. And the judges, speaking from a judge's perspective, we're not that emotionally invested in that one particular program. We're invested into the entire contest. So it's a more objective.
So you say that, is there an obligation on the standpoint of a judge or an adjudicator to uphold a standard?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to give you, you earned this.
Yes. I've had that conversation with directors where they'll say, you know, this is the rating you put down for us. Why did you do that? And in a respectful way. And we sit down and we say, well, this is how it fits the set of rubrics that the state gives us. It's business. It's not personal. You know, this is what it is, because to manufacture a better rating for someone would be cheating the other bands that did get that rating. So if a band is making a second division and then all of a sudden you give this fourth division band a second division, those kids are smart. Right. They look at the bands, they go, well, that doesn't make sense.
And you just destroyed the integrity of what we're actually trying to accomplish.
So that's our goal. But then again, I will say, you know, I've judged a lot of bands and we are human. And I can tell you every contest when I finish, I go back over that sheet and there's some of them I kind of go, I think I missed that one. But that's why there's 3 of us. Well, we judge as if there's only one of us.
Even looking forward, today's contest here, most of the region contests we've had, you're competing more against yourself than anything.
Exactly. You do not compete against each other.
But as we move forward, we've all seen, you know, I give this band is 5, this band is 5, this band is 17, this band is, and you're like, where was that guy?
Yes. Yes. So
some of that is subjective.
Yeah, and it could be another podcast. It could be where they're looking on the field, what is their pet peeve.
Yeah.
You know, they just kind of harp on it forever kind of thing.
For the for today.
Yeah, for today.
We're talking about your band competed against itself, and this is where we went.
Yeah, we compete against the standard determined by our governing body.
Listen to the tapes.
Yeah, listen to the tapes.
With an open mind.
Yes. Okay. And just make sure to, and now in today's technology, like I'm doing tabulation today, and as soon as the judges finish, it all goes to anyone on their platform. So they put whatever emails they put on their platform, all those judges' critiques go out immediately. But I say release it to the kids, put it on a Google Drive somewhere and let the kids listen to it, because there's some really sharp band kids out there that could actually be judges. They're that smart, so they'll figure it out, okay? And so we listen to them now. So there's two things kind of, not just two, but sometimes there's conflicting statements by two judges on the same panel. One might say, what a beautiful brass sound this group achieves, great commitment to getting good tone quality. The other judge might say, I'm not happy with the sound right here. And so when those things happen, those are great teaching moments to tell the kids, said, well, maybe it's a different in standard. Maybe that judge, has a higher standard for what he considers a good tone quality. Or it could be whether
he's a brass player, maybe he's a woodwind player.
Yeah. And I know we can't just move the camera, but you can see all the desks set up for the judges. There's a pretty good disparity between, if you're right in front of the, let's say, the mellophone section, and another judge is right in front of the trumpets almost the whole show, there might be a difference of opinion.
Sure.
On what's going on.
Hadn't really thought about that, but I can see.
Because they're seeing it from different viewpoints. If they do agree on things, if you get the same comment from all three judges, or an area, all three music and both visual judges, and you get the same sort of comments within those captions, then it is time to dig deeper. Obviously three people said,
all heard the same thing.
This has to happen, or saw something, either heard or saw something. So we've got to make sure that we approach that and take that pretty serious. And I would shout this out to most of my directors out there, and I did this out of morbid OCD curiosity, but I kept all of my sheets at every school I worked at. And I left them there because that belongs to the school.
Sure.
But I'd keep them in a notebook, and it was very telling to go through and look at every sheet for marching. I made photocopies for 31 years. There seem to be some of the same problems, and there's one common denominator, Mike Lunney. So as a band director, it's kind of nice to go through those, and it's like, we really don't have good field timing from front ensemble to battery.
Right.
If that happens 10 years in a row, let's reach out and figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's just reach out and figure it out. Another thing, it's okay to disagree with the judges, even in front of your band. It's okay to say, I don't agree with what that person just said, and we do it the way we do it because we do it this way, because that's how we taught it, and this is how I want to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not asking all the directors to agree with every judge.
And a deeper level of that, you guys did what I asked you to do.
Yeah, and boy, I'm glad you said that, because I didn't think of putting it that way. But I used to say that to my band, said, even if we make a 2 or a 3 or a 4, you've done everything I've asked you to do. This problem is on my shoulders. You did everything you're supposed to do. My job's to tell you what to do. Right. And so I think that's a great statement to make to the kids, because we don't want to deflate them, and they understand when they make mistakes, just like we understand when we make mistakes, okay? If there's a wide split, you mentioned that area situation, some things to consider. Let's say we have a 1, 3, 4.
Rainbow it?
Yeah, worse than a rainbow. 1, 2, 3, no, an expanded rainbow. A 1, 3, 5.
With a gap.
Yeah, a rainbow with a gap. Some things to think about. One is we are human as judges, and they might have just missed a band, might have missed it. The other thing is what is the main thing that bothers that judge the most? And I think the thing that our students, I'm getting old, young band directors will ask me, said, this doesn't make sense. I got a 1, 2, 3, and I've heard the performance. And I'll tell them, said, well, honestly, there's parts of your performance that were a solid first division. There were parts that sounded like a 2 and parts that sounded like a 3. Right. So whatever part of that program they locked into, that's the rating they gave you. So none of those judges are wrong necessarily. Sure. They just kind of locked into it.
And I guess, listen, I'm asking this as an observer, as an audience member.
Yeah.
There are times when I have said to myself, oh, wow, that was horrible. Yeah. And then I'll stop and go, but it was only 30 seconds.
Yes.
out of an 8-minute presentation. So,
Yeah.
sometimes, as you said, that can be so egregious to somebody, or that can offend somebody so bad that they go, I just can't let that go.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Or even on that same topic, if the band does the same thing wrong over and over and over again, like bad body angles, they're not pressed parallel to the sideline, but that seems to be their pet peeve, but they just mention it over and over and over and over, then that might make them push into a lower rating because that just drives into their head. Right. I always feel like as a judge, mention it, talk about it, and just say, well, this seems to be a consistent issue with our ensemble today, but I'm going to go on to other things. And just let it float, and just as long as they know this is a consistent problem, but I'm not going to sit here and say it 400 times before your show.
And that's probably experience as a judge, learning how to do that too.
Yes, yes. And learning how to say things in a way that the kids feel like they want to do better. You know, right. Instead of saying this is a really bad tone quality and that sounds like chainsaws, you know, you can go, hey, to achieve a more full and more preferred characteristic sound, let's use faster air and firmer embouchures and spin that air through the horn for a more full characteristic sound. So it's how you say it, you know.
This is why you'd be a good judge, because my rating sheet would say things like, buy a tuner.
Yeah. Well, I was judging, this is an offhand, I was judging a festival last year, and this guy that I just think is great, he was sitting next to me, and I'm going along talking about this saxophone sound, about how we can make this better, and I hear him go, that doesn't even sound like a saxophone. And I had to keep from laughing because I'm like, oh my gosh. So the truth was blunt, and he wasn't wrong. But, you know, the goal is to not make the kid clam up and never play a saxophone again. The goal is to, how can we make that saxophone sound better, you know? So he just kind of lost his mojo for a second.
As a person who's bombed a solo at marching contest.
Oh, no.
It's
trumpet shame.
You can destroy an ego and do more harm with an ill-timed or too blunt of a comment.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
gets read in front of the entire group.
Yeah. That's, I think your last statement's the most important one, because the soloist can handle someone telling them what to do, but who wants to sit there in the midst of all their friends and hear a judge go, that's just not a good flute sound.
So imagine you're sitting in the trumpet section and that comment happens and the other 95 people go,
yeah, they turn around and stare at you.
Anyway, so that's my sad story, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry about that. We'll line up some therapy for you, okay? But we've got to remember when the contest is over that, you know, there's memories that are made, there's lessons learned. You know, success comes in many forms. And you've announced, so have you ever announced at the end to give out the ratings and announced a second division and heard and clapping and yelling and screaming like they'd won the World Series?
I have not.
I have. It's really cool because you'll see a band that's had like Division 4s for 5 years, and a new director comes in and they go, okay, guys, so we're kind of starting kind of low here and we're going to work hard. Our goal is going to be a rating of excellence. We want a second division, a region. If we make a one, that's even better. But it's kind of cool when you see a band that, because of their perspective, they can celebrate a second division. Isn't that cool?
I'm processing that.
Yeah.
You say it.
And they leave the stadium going, we won today.
But it kind of brings me to the point that I would want to make in all of this is that everybody wants a one. I get it.
Yeah.
But they set that up in such a way that, you know, it's not Ricky Bobby.
Yeah.
Second, first, last place.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what this should necessarily, but it's hard not to feel that way in the middle of what we do.
Right. That's exactly right.
And so I can understand the concept of, and kudos, applause to the director that said, guys, realize where we are.
Yeah.
Here's where we're going.
Yeah.
But we've got to and we allow that in football all the time.
Yeah.
Your team was 2-8, and then this year it was 5 and whatever. 5-5. Man, what a great improvement.
That's right. They, in their own perspective, there was success.
Right. That's awesome.
We didn't win the state championship, but there was success.
And we're better than we were when we started.
Yeah, and I tell you, a really good friend of mine, and I'll do a shout out for this one, okay. Mr. James Cross in Hamlin.
I know James.
That little band program's had 10 directors in 9 years. Okay?
Right.
They've not performed in UIL till this Saturday for the last decade.
Continuity and consistency is not the hallmark.
But guess what happened?
Tell me.
They made straight ones and they advanced to state in 1A.
How awesome.
They're going to the Alamo Dome in state marching contest after performing in their very first UIL marching contest in over a decade.
That's great.
Think about that with his 30 kids, and he got them there. And so, but he would have been, honestly, with the progress that's been made, if they'd have made a 2 at region or a 3, just to be there was a success.
Sure.
And they pushed it to the limit. But I was like really excited for my friend over there that, you know, they're going to be at the state marching contest.
Cool.
Put them all in one bus with their uniforms, and off we go.
Congrats, James.
Yeah, so it's really cool. So those are the memories that kind of happen. And when it's all over with, just make sure, don't forget to rest, you know, and because sometimes directors get all tied up and now it's time to get on to the next level. We got to go to areas. So I've got to study all my critiques if we did make a 1.
Right.
Give yourself a little time to recover, to make that happen, okay? I really feel like a lot of times the bands come in this with the idea they're already thinking area, you know, especially the dominant bands.
Right.
They're thinking area. But we really tried to push hard in my situation that we've got to pretend and consider the region marching has to be the end all of all. Because if we don't clear that hurdle,
right,
we're done.
So let me throw
we're done.
Is there some entitlement there?
Oh yeah, just like anything.
If you and I'm talking about this from the standpoint of our conversation.
Yeah.
This is a conversation we had. I kept telling you that this might trip us up. I kept saying that this is an issue. And everybody just, this is probably an ugly part of this, so we can forgive me and take it out if we need to. But sometimes no matter what we say, the kids are like, we're going to get it 1.
Yeah, that's hard to push them sometimes. It really is. There's no doubt about that. There's a little bit of that entitlement. I know that I worked at Wiley for 19 years, and for, I guess, let's figure it out. The 19, 11, that's 30, 37 years, they've had first divisions in every UIL event for their top varsity band, except for my first year at Wiley, we made a 2 in concert. I've got the only blemish. And yeah, that is hard because the kids really feel like we're this school and we make 1s.
Right.
And the judges said, well, you're this school and here's your 2. And so that's a hard one to overcome. And you can pull that to a whole nother level. We went to state marching 5 times in a row. That 5th time, that's hard for them not to feel entitled. Right. You know, we are this band and we go to state marching.
They're going to send us.
Man, that's a psychological battle in itself. So
I didn't mean to sidetrack that.
Oh, no, that kind of leads us into the next portion. Some area perspective, because I know when this comes out, it's going to be more people actually competing at the area level, because now in our particular state, all classifications compete every year. So they have that. Things like, these are some statements I kind of wrote down. We were so close, this one judge just didn't like us. The judges don't like or dislike any band. They just thought it wasn't as good. The judges just missed it, and my kids don't understand.
Right.
Okay. We were in finals last go around and didn't even get close this time. Name recognition, politics, band history, etc. beat us today. The school with the biggest props won. The list goes on and on forever, but it's marching and playing is what it is.
I do know some programs that just have that. We have to work harder because nobody likes us, because we're not this other school. So we're already behind the 8 ball to start with. I hear some of that when I hear your list there.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm with you. I don't think judges walk into it going, well, you're going to have to work harder than the other band's going to have to work just because of who you are.
No, we just evaluate what's there.
Say, all you could do is look at what's on the field at any given moment.
Yeah. And as a person who's judged area, there's a really interesting dynamic going on, because it's a lot of pressure as a judge to put those 20 to 25 or more bands in chair order on your sheet. And every judge does the same thing on their sheet. And then we're expecting, as band directors, for it to match up perfect.
Sure.
1-1-1, 2-2-2, 3-3-3.
Well,
and it doesn't.
Mike, I can tell you, just for judging all region on a specific instrument.
Yeah.
Your top 6, 7, 8, 9, you go, oh, okay, yeah. The bottom 6, 7, 8, 9, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of
But
put them in pods.
There's this section in the middle. This sounds terrible, but it's almost like really hard to remember, and unless you're taking really good notes.
Yeah.
Which I trust all adjudicators.
Yeah, we do. But you're correct. That middle pod of bands, they're not interchangeable, but they're really close in terms of mistakes they make and content they value.
And I would say their point values at the end reflect that.
Yeah, they should. Between 1 and 1,000, they should.
Right.
So that middle band should be in that same place on your sheet.
Again, I'm saying it's hard for us as a director who's invested in this emotionally, our ego's invested in this, to stop and go, if I was judging them, how would I have managed that same system? Everybody's doing the best they can. That's why there's multiple judges.
Yes, that's why there's multiple judges to do that.
Instead of well, nobody likes us, or the judge just flat out missed it. Well, maybe one of them did, but not all 5 of them.
Right. And there's ways they work around that system to kind of help make that better as time goes by. I know it's a tough situation. I think when it comes down to it, we're taking something that was never meant to compete, called music, and we made a competition out of it. Right. And so now we're at area state. There has to be a winner and there has to be a loser.
Never put that in that context before.
But it never should have been a competition.
Music is about expression and emotion and all the good things in life, and we turned it into a competition.
Right. But then on the good side, that competition's what's made our bands so strong.
I agree with that.
Because the kids and directors feel a sense of bragging rights and, hey, we got to be better than our neighbors. Let's go, kids. Come on, let's go. So if there was no competition, I don't think our bands would be near as good.
I agree.
So we as a director, we've got to make sure to find that fine line between competition and musical expression, that we're not sacrificing one for the other. And that line keeps moving. It keeps moving.
And I also think that sometimes, we've had this conversation somewhere in the past, that as we push towards that excellence, there's not friendly fire and or just a marching field full of casualties.
Yeah.
At the end of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of dramatic, but
yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
This needs to be something that somebody that's 6 years old can look back and go, man, I just loved those experiences.
Yeah, and I can tell you from my experience that when students come up to me, or past students, and they're now in their 40s, they don't hardly ever talk about the show.
Talking about the experience.
They talk about the experience of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they ask me, how did we come out at that contest? Do you remember, Mr. Lunney? They don't really remember that. Now, if you want to say championship, they're going to remember that, okay? Sure. They got a medal hung on their neck, but they're going to remember that moment. But I think sometimes we kind of think the students are a little too close-minded in that regard. We think they're all about the competition. And a lot of them, I hate to say this, the quiet part out loud, but they're more concerned, where are we eating? Right. Let's go play our show and have a good time. And where are we going to eat, Mr. Lunney? That's just as important. Yeah, I get to be out of school all day, and they get to hang out with their friends. Right. And
that is their family.
That's their people, man. That's their people. Another thing to kind of think about in this whole contest situation, man, really take time to thank your support system. Because every band we're going to see today, especially those larger groups, man, there's semi-trailers of equipment. There's band dads and band moms that are fixing uniforms and moving stuff, and they're feeding the band, and it's just amazing with the amount of stuff they do. And your administration, I've seen admin. I know of a school right now, the admin's trying desperately to crush the band program. And so that happens across our state in different places. They decide they don't want a band, they can squash it. Right. So please give credit to those administrators who show up and give you good budgets and help you every way they can. And,
I will say this too, in the world of social media, I've seen this. I think it's a positive, but I can always tell when there was a contest because every director friend that I'm friends with in social media has started making that post.
Yeah, they make that post.
These are the people, but that's good.
It is good.
I'm not making fun of that. I'm saying that's good.
I love reading them.
But also, do it face to face.
Yes, do it face to face. That is true. And kind of put a bow on the whole thing. Your kids are going to come back tomorrow. They're not all going to quit band if it's not the rating we want to. Right. And they're going to need you as directors to guide them into how do we handle these emotions? Because you're dyed-in-the-wool, 100% band kids that are wanting to try out for the all-state band, they take it a lot worse.
Sure.
They take it like another band director. You know, so you've got to guide their process in it, because competition can be very defeating.
Well, I'm going to ask you, so how do we help those kids?
How do we help them?
How do we help those kids that was, I mean, they had put so much into that outcome?
Yes. I think we just have to approach it through rehearsal all the way up to that point. But then if it happens, you know, we just talk about how let's just be better today than we were yesterday. Let's fix this. And then I tell them, we can't control verbatim exactly what's going to happen the day of contest. All we can control is what we do, and we're still going to make a mistake. And the judges, we can't control them. And I try to tell them that band is all offense. There's no defense in band. You know, you can't run on the field and knock a soloist down from the opposing school. That'd be defense.
Wait, this is great. I've got a new competition.
We're going to start a new one, like WWE, UIL marching. Yeah, just send a kid out there just to knock people down, you know. So we're all offense. All we do is our show. We do our show, and then we depend on these people to write down their opinion, and these people put us in order at area, and whatever that order they put us in, that's going to stick. So to answer your question, we just explain to them that this is what the system is. The system's not perfect. Maybe we should have been a little higher. Maybe they nailed it. Maybe that's exactly where we're supposed to be. But what we've got to do now is listen to the critiques, make ourselves better. Next performance is going to be better than the performance we did at area, regardless of where we're going to.
And I'm so glad that you're nice and that you're offsetting what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Because I still kind of fall down, and this is why I'm the old man. Sometimes we lose.
Well, yeah.
I don't care how good we thought we did. Sometimes we lose.
Yeah, that's true.
But what you said, recognize how much is out of your control in this thing.
Yes.
It's not your fault unless you're the one that just threw down your horn and mooned the judges.
Yeah.
But if you did everything you could do, then it's not your fault.
Yeah.
If you did everything I asked you to do, it's not your fault. Take off the fault.
Yeah, take off the fault. Reward, I think of it this way. I like to tell the kids, I don't tell them this, but I reward the effort, not the result. Does it make sense?
It does.
We reward the effort. Yeah. The effort's where the reward comes in, and the result, we can control our effort. We can't control the result. You know, so it's kind of ridiculous to put so much emphasis on, did we make a 1? Did we go to area? Did we make finals at area? Did we advance to state? Did we? It never ends.
Right.
It never ends.
And if you know your group, and if you know as an individual, you did everything you could, then take pride in that.
Yeah.
And quit worrying about whether everybody else is going to walk up and say, "Man, you were the best thing I've ever seen."
Yeah.
That's kind of an unrealistic way to live life.
Yeah,
so that's what lose.
Yeah. And that last statement I'm going to put out there is the same one I made earlier. We've got to watch out, because if we put everything, the only thing that counts is our final result. That's dangerous, because like in Class 3A, there's 223 bands.
Right.
There's one state champion.
Gary said.
So if competition is the only thing you're doing, that means 220 plus bands are losers.
Right.
And there's no way to defend that statement. So it has to be where we reward the effort. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's true. Trust me, I've lived it. You reward the effort. You do acknowledge the result either way. You acknowledge it, but that's not the main criteria of why we have band. We don't have band to compete.
Right. And to finish the story that I started, all the credit in the world to that first-year teacher that rode the bus back with us after we got a 3. The way he handled it, the way he encouraged us, the way he explained and kept us from all just jumping off a cliff. And fast forward a couple of months, concert Saturday, a 1 and a 1.
Yeah.
There's a chance to lose us if you handle it right.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Here's the reality. Here's the truth. Here's what we did. We don't like it. But y'all are awesome.
Yeah. I appreciate your effort. I appreciate what we did. Let's go to tomorrow.
Get each other's back, pick each other up, and let's go. Let's move on. We can't stay here. So anyway, that was the happy end of my circumstance and never had that happen again.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike, from a director standpoint. You know, I'm probably going to use this word. I'm so empathetic when I watch these contests, when I watch these kids. And I'll be honest, I feel like you can kind of tell when you're watching when they're just giving it everything they got.
Oh, yeah.
Relative to, I guess I'll move to the next spot.
Yeah.
How much longer are we marching?
And as someone who does a lot of clinics like tonight, there's a few of these bands I've worked a lot with. And so I say a lot, but in the course of time, it's a little bit. No. For me, it feels like a lot.
But you're invested.
I'm emotionally invested, man. There's bands as just a clinician, I'll be up here crying for. And some I'll be mad. It's like, why didn't you do that?
I need to come see your band.
That's right.
I'm all right.
So it's crazy times, but I wish all the best of luck to all you guys going into area, the guys tonight, the ladies. You're doing good work. Thank you for working hard to keep our kids mentally healthy and keep competition in perspective.
And it's obviously we're still invested. We care because we know what you're doing. Be great.